What is going on, you guys? This is RoyalDezmo and I am back with another tutorial, and this time it is for the Skylands Parkour map. So this is in the mini game called Dragon Escape, and this is going to be a full-on tutorial on every jump basically and how to do them. And keep in mind there are many ways to do this map. This is just my way of doing it, and I find it to be the most efficient and probably the most easiest to do. There are some ways that you can take like big cuts in the map, but they're kind of risky, so I like to play it safe and just have a fast, efficient way to do it. So I'm just going to start off with a few basic tips. So if you guys are looking for some more tips, I recommend checking out my Ruins Parkour and my Lava Parkour. Those have a bunch of tips right in the beginning, right off the bat. But in this one, I'm kind of going to skip over them and just kind of go over the tips as I get to the point in the map. So a few ones to start off with is, first off, programmable sprint, which is really useful. Mouse sensitivity doesn't really matter too much in this map. If you want to, you can turn it up maybe just a little bit, but I find it's a little hard to do this kind of a map with high sensitivity, unlike the Lava Parkour. Another thing to keep in mind is that you only have 4 boosts if you pick the default kit, which is the one that I'm using. I don't prefer any of the other ones, I kind of just prefer the default first kit. And then lastly, in this parkour, since it is a speed course, you're going to want to try and be doing it as fast as you can since you are racing other players. Using the A and D buttons to move your character will help. So instead of just aiming for the blocks, keeping your cursor kind of aimed where you're going and using the A and D buttons to control your character. Lastly, patience, practice, and watching this video. That's going to help. So let's go ahead and start off. Okay, so to start off, as you can see, I did start on the right hand side, which is preferable. I either like starting on the left or right. If you start in the middle, it has some weird time jumps that you have to do when you get to the log parts. Anyways, just go ahead and jump up these bushes right here. Time your jump so that way when you jump from the single block at the end here, that you jump at the last second to jump over the bushes, the double block bushes. So right here, like I mentioned, just make sure it is timed at the last second, otherwise you'll miss the very first jump and die, which kind of sucks. So just time it right and you'll make it over. One more thing I want to go over is also jumping in between your jumps. It does increase your speed just a little bit, not very much, but just a little bit, so if you are racing, it will give you an edge. So as much as you can find places to jump, you can just pay attention to where I do it and implement your jumps there. So let's go ahead and continue. Okay, right here it's pretty easy. This guy's getting in my way kind of right here, but these are pretty simple jumps, nothing to it. Right at the top of these stairs, this is a place where I like to use one of my boosts. Other people have different preferences, but this is where I personally like to use one of my boosts, so I boost over the building. Okay, and then right here, I'll drop down on this stair right here, this wood stair, and then I will jump once to land on the block in front of me, and I'll keep going. Okay, right here, what you want to do is jump at the very last second. I actually skip a lot of the lily pads. I actually just take one jump and jump on one lily pad. So right here, jump at the last second, aim for that middle lily pad, and it's a jump at the last second. Keep that in mind. So you're going to jump from this one, and the next jump after this to the green grass on the other side is also a jump at the last second. Okay, right here, some people like to go on the log, but I kind of find it distracting, so instead I actually just run around the log and then I will boost. I will aim my cursor up into the air and then I will boost onto the sandstone right there on the right. As you can see, there's a little passageway there, so you can either go in the passageway, but I actually just go right on top of it. Okay, so right here, you're going to jump onto this corner piece that I'm aiming at right here for this sandstone, and then this is kind of where I talked about using the A and D keys in order to control your jumps. Rather than aiming your cursor, I find it almost easier for like a speed map to have your cursor kind of aimed where you're going to eventually be going with your character, and using the A and D buttons to kind of control your character in the air. It's kind of hard to explain, but watch this part a few times and you'll understand what I mean by that. So you're just going to drop down into this hole right here. Okay, so right here on this churn, when I'm turning around, I actually hold down shift. I find when I need to turn 180 degrees, it's very helpful to hold down shift and then turn around and then continue on with my sprint button, whatever that may be for you guys. Okay, so right here there are two ways you can go. You can either go left and take the shortcut and use a boost, but I preferably like to just run the course right here over the lava. I find it a lot easier, and when I time myself against someone else that actually takes a shortcut, if you do it fast enough like I do it, you really only get behind by like maybe a second or two. Okay, so right here, you're just going to want to, before you go into these jumps, you're going to want to keep your cursor all the way to the left as much as you can, so reposition if you need to before this, and then you're just going to go up these jumps, and they're all pretty normal jumps. Okay, right here, you're just going to jump at the last second to this block right here, and then you're going to jump to the next one where I land. So just pay attention to where blocks I'm jumping on and aim for those ones. Alright, so coming up here to the ice block jumps, people have a lot of way of doing this. At first I tried just going and sprinting right onto the blocks, but I found that kind of hard. I'd have to stop and catch my character, otherwise I would fly off or I'd jump too far ahead. So I did find something that was very useful. I find a lot of people struggle on these jumps, I see it all the time, but what I can highly recommend is walking up to the block like I'm about to, like hit the face of it, and then start sprinting and jumping. So pay attention to how I do it, and this will actually make it so you don't over jump any of the jumps as long as you hit the jumps that I'm jumping onto. So as you can see, I did all those without overshooting any of the shots. I didn't have to stop at all because I stopped myself, and I had just like basically my first jump off the first ice block was on the edge closest to me, so that gave me lots of room to play with when I'm jumping the rest of them, I guess you could say. Okay, once you jump onto this tree, you can either run the rest of the course here on this tree patch, or you can use a boost, which I'm about to do right here. So just aim up here and then boost right on up. Okay, so this jump right here is kind of like a strafe jump, but instead, like I mentioned, using the A and D buttons to control your character while keeping your view forward, you're basically just going to jump forward and then just hold down D after you clear the iron blocks, and your character will just automatically go back onto the platform. This jump is a little bit of a hard one. What I highly recommend on this one is actually jumping for the corner piece that's on the next jump on the left hand side. And when you're running off this jump right here that I'm on, try not to hug the tree, because if you hug the tree and touch it, it'll actually stop your sprint. So you're going to want to kind of stay to the left if you can a little bit, and then aim for that corner piece. And this is going to be a jump at the last second. This is one of the harder jumps. I guess you could say some people can't do it as well. So practice on this one, you're going to need to, but time it for the last second possible and aim for that corner piece, and make sure before you jump, stay to the left side of this platform if possible. Okay, so the rest of these jumps, they're all pretty easy to hit. What I would recommend is try aiming for the corner pieces of each one. I don't do it too well on this, but I do kind of hit the corner pieces as much as I can. Probably halfway through this you will have to readjust your mouse, so just be prepared. You can either stop or you can just keep sprinting and readjust your mouse, whichever way works for you, but take your time if you need to, guys. Okay, so this jump coming up right here, I recommend dropping onto this leaf block that I'm about to run onto and jumping from the corner to the corner piece on the... as you see, there's 3 little edges jutting out of the next island. I recommend going for the very right edge that's right there, and then proceeding to jump onto the logs. Okay, so this jump is another one that's very hard. What I highly recommend doing is trying to jump from the corner of the jump rather than going straight on. For some reason, I don't know what it is about going straight off this jump, but most of the times I don't make it. So what I recommend is actually running off the corner piece. I don't know what it is about the corner pieces, but corner pieces make me feel better. So run off the corner piece and you should be able to make this jump as long as you're hitting it at an angle. But not too much of an angle, because then you lose the jump and you won't make it. So you still have to kind of be straight, but at the same time go off the corner piece. Okay, so all these jumps that are coming up right here, you can hit these all in one sprint. What I highly recommend is actually on these shorter jumps coming up right here, there'll be some that it's not a gap where you can hit it while sprinting. So what I do is you'll see that here in a few moments my screen will zoom out a little bit. What I do is I actually let go of the forward button and it momentarily stops my sprint, and then I continue on sprinting from there. But I hold my sprint button down the whole time, and when I come to this jump where my screen zooms out, I actually let go of the W button to stop my forward momentum. And sometimes I'll even press back on the S key in order to make it so I don't jump super far. Okay, so these jumps from here on out, they're all basically jump at the last second, so you're going to need to jump from corner to corner is what I highly recommend. Don't aim for the actual blocks. Try and jump from the corner to the next corner piece, because you're going to want to try and hit the corners as much as possible. That'll help you. And then this very last jump, make sure you just aim fairly high. Like, I didn't aim very high, but you can aim a little bit higher if you want to, just to be safe. At least aim above the redstone, or sorry, not redstone, the nether brick fence in the background, the last one, the one that's furthest away from us. At least aim above that, so that way you can make this jump. This jump is possible just with a normal jump, but it's a very tricky jump, so I don't recommend doing it. I recommend saving a boost for the very end. It'll make your life a lot easier, and just boost onto the end. And there you have it, you guys. So that was the full tutorial on the Skyland Parkour, Skylands, I guess, whatever. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found it really useful. So just to recap some of the key things, like I mentioned in all my videos, practice, patience, and watching this video, learning the jumps, knowing where they're at, and finding a routine that works for you. Sometimes doing what someone else is doing exactly isn't always going to help. If you need to, implement your own way of doing it, use your boosts whenever you feel you need to, and kind of just play with it, find your own way to do it. You don't have to do it exactly like I do. You're free to do it however you want, but just make sure you practice. And yeah, that's basically it, you guys. Just a lot of practice is all you really need to do this. You need to take breaks. Sometimes you come back and you're a lot better than you were the time before. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that, found it useful. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. I do put out tutorial videos quite often now that I'm back on track. So I did put one out last week that was the lava parkour. I plan on doing the next one for the other parkour map. I can't remember which one it is, the like hell one or whatever. But yeah, I have a ruins parkour tutorial, I have a lava parkour tutorial, so go to our channel, check those out if you're interested. They're super useful, and there's a lot of useful tips in those ones. Other than that, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said a billion times, yeah, that's it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace out.